When you watch a truly elite golfer on television, there is this almost um, eerie illusion of effortlessness.
Oh, absolutely. It looks like they're barely trying.
Right. You see them step up to the tee, they take this incredibly smooth, flowing swing, and suddenly the ball is just rocketing 320 yards down the fairway.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch.
It is. But then, you go to the local municipal course on a Saturday morning, and you see someone just swinging out of their shoes, they're grunting, their face is turning red, and the ball barely goes 150 yards into the woods.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly looks like two completely different sports at that point.
It really does. Why is there such a massive disconnect?
Well, we naturally equate physical exertion like that visible, tense straining with power. It's just how human beings are wired to think about generating force, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you want to move something heavy, you strain.
But when you step into the world of golf biomechanics, that entire paradigm just gets totally flipped upside down.
Completely flipped. The exertion you see at the local driving range is actually destroying power, not creating it.
Exactly. So, whether you're prepping for a weekend round, coaching a student, or you're just insanely curious about human biomechanics, welcome to today's deep dive.
We've got a really great one today.
We do. Our mission today is to completely deconstruct the biomechanics and sports science of the golf swing. We are diving into a fascinating stack of sources, from PGA professional coaching notes to detailed biomechanics reports.
And we've also got some really incredible clinical electromyography studies in here, too.
Right, the EMG studies. They basically map out exactly which muscles fire and down to the millisecond when they actually do it.
Yeah, and to be clear to you listening, our goal today isn't to, force you to memorize a textbook of human anatomy.
Definitely not. No pop quizzes here.
Right. We just want to understand the underlying mechanics of elite golf performance. We want to look at how unlocking your body's natural physics is the true secret to clubhead velocity.
Okay, let's unpack this. We are basically throwing out the old adage of, swinging harder with your arms.
Throw it right out the window.
I'm looking at our notes here, and it seems like trying to force the club down with your upper body is actually a trap. Why is that?
Well, we can look directly at a biomechanical comparison from a researcher named Joshua 1 to see why.
Okay, what did he find?
He tested what he called an arm swing, which is where a golfer primarily uses, their biceps, triceps, and forearms to hit the ball.
Kind of like chopping wood.
Yeah, exactly like that. And he tested that against a full body swing that actively recruits the shoulders, the back, hips, and legs.
See, I would naturally assume the arms are moving the club, so they must be doing all the heavy lifting, right?
I mean, that's what most people think, but the numbers tell a very different story.
Huh.
When using just the arm swing, the ball speed off the club face was about 50.2 meters per second.
Okay, 50.2.
But when they shifted to the full body swing, that ball speed jumped massively to 72.4 meters per second.
Wow, that is a huge jump.
It's massive. To put that in perspective, the energy at impact went from about 140 joules up to almost 214 joules.
Just so we have a mental picture for that.
Yeah.
What does 140 joules actually feel like?
So 140 joules is roughly the kinetic energy of a 90-mile-per-hour baseball hitting a catcher's mitt.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's already a significant impact.
Right, it's definitely significant. But jumping to 214 joules is just a massive leap in violent force. And to understand how a golfer generates that much extra energy, we have to look at the underlying physics problem that every single player has to solve.
And what's that?
It all comes down to a really fundamental equation, which is impulse.
Impulse. That's force multiplied by time, right?
That's the one. If you want to change the momentum of the golf club, and therefore the golf ball, you need to generate a massive impulse.
Meaning you need to apply force over a specific duration of time.
Exactly. Think of it like trying to push a stalled car. If you just walk up and give the bumper one quick, incredibly hard shove,
The car barely even rocks.
right, it goes nowhere. But if you lean into it and apply a steady, consistent pushing force over 3 or 4 seconds, the car starts rolling. So the time you spend applying the force matters just as much as the force itself.
Okay, I follow the physics of that. But a golf swing isn't 3 or 4 seconds long. So how much time does a golfer actually have to apply this force?
Almost none, which is the crazy part. Research by Cochrane and Stobbs showed that the average downswing lasts only about 230 milliseconds.
Well, 230 milliseconds from the top of the swing all the way to impact.
Yep. From the moment the club changes direction at the top to the exact moment of impact, it is literally the blink of an eye.
230 milliseconds. That is unbelievably fast.
And this introduces a massive biological hurdle for us. According to sports science research, human muscles just cannot instantly generate peak force.
They need time to sort of ramp up.
Exactly. They need time to ramp up their recruitment. It actually takes the average human muscle about 300 milliseconds to reach its peak force production.
Wait, hold on. Let me get this straight. If our muscles physically cannot reach maximum power in 230 milliseconds,
Yeah.
and the entire downswing is only 230 milliseconds long, the swing is literally over before the body even reaches peak power?
Yep, you've hit the nail on the head.
How does anyone hit a golf ball further than 10 feet then, if it seems physically impossible?
I mean, that is the ultimate mechanical paradox of the sport. You can't change the mass of the golfer, obviously, and you can't magically make human muscles ramp up faster than biology allows.
Right.
So the only variable you can actually manipulate in that impulse equation is time. You have to find a way to increase the time over which force is being generated without actually slowing down the physical swing of the club.
I'm kind of struggling to picture how you can increase time without, actually slowing down time.
You do it by starting the process early. It's a concept biomechanists call disassociation.
Disassociation, okay.
Yeah. To maximize the time those core muscles are generating force, elite players start their downswing before their backswing has even finished.
Oh, interesting. So they separate or disassociate their pelvis from their torso.
Precisely. So their lower body is starting to move toward the target, while their shoulders are actually still rotating away from it. They are utilizing what we call the stretch shortening cycle, or the SSC.
The SSC. What exactly is happening in the muscles there?
It's a mechanism where a muscle undergoes an eccentric contraction, meaning it is actively lengthening under tension, followed immediately by a concentric contraction, where it rapidly shortens.
Okay, so the analogy that really helps me visualize this is like a thick rubber band.
Oh, that's a perfect way to look at it.
Right, because if you hold a rubber band between your hands and just move both hands forward at the exact same time, the band just stays loose. No energy is transferred.
Not at all.
But if you start pulling your backhand backward,
Right.
where your front hand is already moving forward, you create this massive, violent stretch reflex.
Exactly. You are maximizing the time the force is acting upon that potential energy system. So when you finally let it go, it just violently snaps.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
You're basically storing elastic energy in the muscles.
You are. And what's wild is we actually have clinical proof of exactly when this rubber band starts stretching.
Oh, for the EMG study.
Yes. A study by Silva and his colleagues used EMG sensors, which basically measured the electrical activity in the muscles, and they tracked the trunk during a golf swing.
And what did they find?
They found that the external obliques, which are the muscles on the sides of your core, are the very first muscles to activate.
So if my downswing is just a blink of an eye, when are my core muscles actually hitting the gas pedal?
They fire an incredible 1,295 milliseconds prior to impact.
Wait, over a full second early?
Over a full second.
That's insane. The club is barely going back in the air, and my core is already firing for the downswing.
Yeah, they are firing that early to stabilize the trunk and prepare for that massive counter-rotation. They're basically starting the engine of the downswing while the arms are still making the backswing.
That is how you cheat time. You just get a massive head start on the impulse equation.
That's exactly it. Now, a lot of golfers hear this, and they immediately think they need some perfectly flawless textbook swing to pull it off. But a study by Cheatham and Broker found something really reassuring for the rest of us.
Let me guess. The pros don't actually swing perfectly.
Not at all, actually. They measured what's called the kinematic sequence, which is essentially the ideal order that body parts should move and break to transfer energy.
Which is supposed to be hips, then torso, then arms, then the club, right?
Right, that's the textbook sequence. But they found that only 25% of male PGA Tour players actually use a perfectly ideal kinematic sequence.
Only 25%. What about the LPGA Tour?
On the LTGA Tour, it was only 39%.
That is wild. The best players in the world don't even use the textbook sequence.
Nope. But the reason they still generate massive clubhead velocity is that regardless of their visual quirks or, unique swing planes, they have all mastered that disassociation.
Right. They all know how to separate the lower body from the upper body to get that rubber band effect.
Yeah.
But, if my lower body is torquing forward and my shoulders are torquing backward at the same time, that honestly sounds like a recipe for snapping your lower back in half.
It does sound violent, yeah.
How does the human body handle that kind of twisting without breaking? There has to be some kind of biological support system for that torque.
There is, and it's a really brilliant evolutionary design. It brings us to the work of Dr. Serge Grakovetsky.
He's the physicist, right?
Yes, a physicist and mathematician. He developed the theory of the spinal engine. He pointed out that the human body isn't just a stack of blocks sitting on top of each other. It is intricately woven together with fascia.
And fascia is the connective tissue that wraps around our muscles and organs.
Exactly. Think of fascia like the body's internal heavy-duty rubber bands. And these bands form contralateral connections.
Contralateral meaning cross-body.
Right. Cross-body. So your left glute, which is the massive muscle in your left buttock, is actually cross-connected through your lower back fascia all the way up to your right latissimus dorsi, the big pulling muscle in your right upper back.
And I'm assuming your right glute is cross-connected to your left lat.
Yes, so if you draw lines connecting them, it forms this giant X across your entire back.
Oh, so they pull against each other diagonally.
Exactly.
You know, this perfectly explains that legendary story about Sam Snead.
Oh, the one with Eisenhower?
Yes, Snead is one of the greatest golfers of all time, and he was playing around with President Dwight Eisenhower. And Eisenhower was really struggling to get distance off the tee.
Right.
So Snead just looks at the President of the United States and says, "Put your ass into the ball, Mr. President."
It's such a great story.
It sounds like a crude joke, but biomechanically, he was completely accurate.
He really was. He was a biomechanical genius without even knowing the science behind it. The glutes are the largest, most powerful muscles in the human body.
They are the actual cannons of the golf swing.
They really are. But we tend to think of the glutes just for, doing squats or pushing forward. In the golf swing, their cross-diagonal rotary action is what drives the whole motion. They pull on that giant X across your back.
I'm thinking of elite, long-driving golfers like Bubba Watson.
Oh, Bubba is a perfect example of this.
Right, because when you watch him swing, he doesn't look like a linebacker, aggressively driving his legs forward into the turf. In fact, his feet usually come completely off the ground at impact.
Yeah, they do.
So how is he using his glutes if his feet are literally in the air?
Well, this is where observation meets advanced physics. If you look closely at Bubba Watson, right at the transition from his backswing to his downswing, he doesn't force his legs to drive upward.
What does he do?
He actually releases tension. He buckles his lead knee, which is his right knee, since he plays left-handed, and that causes his entire spine to drop about an inch toward the ground.
It's almost like a controlled fall.
It is exactly a controlled fall. Biomechanists call it unweighting.
Okay, unweighting.
Yeah, think of playing musical chairs, right?
Yeah.
When you try to sit down as fast as possible when the music stops, you don't push yourself down, you just relax your legs and let gravity drop you instantly.
Right, you just drop.
But then, Bubba suddenly and violently stops that fall. That sudden braking action triggers what is known as the second fire of the glutes and the erector spinae muscles in the back.
Oh, wow. So they hit the brakes hard.
They hit the brakes, and that vertical ground reaction force has literally nowhere to go but up and around, which springs his entire body upward as he hits the ball.
So the braking is what actually causes the explosion of speed. That is fascinating.
It really is. And the cool thing is, this isn't some artificial sports technique we invented just for hitting a golf ball.
No.
No, this exact same glute and lat counter rotation, this cross-body X pattern, is the fundamental engine of human running.
Really? Just regular running?
Yeah. When you run, your left leg naturally goes forward while your right arm swings forward to counterbalance it. The golf swing is using the exact same biomechanical engine as an ice skater dipping down and creating counter rotation before launching into a triple loop jump.
Okay, so we've established what muscles are doing the heavy lifting here. The glutes, the lats, the obliques.
Yeah.
And we know how they cheat time through disassociation. But if I'm an amateur listening to this, my first instinct is going to be to go out tomorrow and try to flex all of these muscles as hard as I can.
Please don't do that.
Right. Why does actively trying to use these muscles usually result in a terrible shot?
Because there is a critical, really profound difference between engaging a muscle and tensing or locking up a muscle.
Okay, how do we tell the difference?
One of our sources from Rotary Swing explains this beautifully with a concept they call the dumbbell test.
How does that work?
Imagine you are holding a 5-pound dumbbell in each hand, and you simply shrug your shoulders up.
Okay, easy enough.
You can feel your trapezius muscles in your neck and upper back engage. They are active, they are carrying a load, but there's still fluid. You could still rotate your head.
Right, I'm not locked up.
Exactly. That is muscle activation. But now, imagine picking up a 40-pound dumbbell in each hand and trying to do the exact same shrug.
Instantly, your muscles are just screaming. They become rigid, locked, and completely immobile.
And tension is the absolute enemy of the golf swing.
Why is it the enemy?
Because tension ruins your rhythm, it destroys your flow, and it completely disrupts that tiny 230 millisecond window we talked about earlier. If your shoulders and arms are locked up with tension, the energy generated by your lower body can't flow through that kinematic sequence.
It just hits a roadblock in the upper body.
Exactly. It just gets trapped in your tense shoulders. Tense muscles are never fast muscles. You want your lats and glutes engaged like they are holding 5 pounds, not locked up like they are deadlifting 500.
Okay, so if I'm an amateur, and I know I need my lead glute to act as that massive brake we talked about, my instinct is to aggressively lean forward onto my front foot during the downswing.
Which is very common.
But what happens mechanically when I throw my weight forward like that?
That leads to, honestly, the most common glute activation flaw in the sport. When amateurs shift their weight forward on the downswing, they almost always shift that weight onto the ball of their lead foot.
Basically onto their toes.
Right, onto their toes. And the moment your weight moves to your toes, it instantly fires the quadriceps muscle on the front of the thigh, and it completely disengages the glute on the back.
Oh, so you completely bypass the cannon.
Completely bypass it. The quad is an accelerator muscle, but in the downswing, your lead leg needs to act as a brake. It needs to stabilize so that the upper body can whip around it.
So if you take a golf swing and your front thigh is burning,
You have lost your power.
how do we actually fix that then? How do we engage the glute instead of the quad?
You must transfer your weight into the lead heel. If you push down through the heel of your lead foot, you immediately activate the lead glute.
Just by shifting back an inch or two.
Yep. It becomes the massive, unmovable stabilizer it was actually designed to be. That allows that giant X-factor stretch across your back to release its energy without the lower body just sliding out from under you.
That is wild. Shift 1 inch forward to your toes and you lose all your power. Shift back to your heel and the cannon fires.
It's a game of inches, literally.
We also mentioned the obliques earlier, firing over a second early in the swing to start that stretch. Is there a practical way to make sure we're feeling those correctly?
Yeah, a great practical drill to isolate that feeling is just doing a simple crunch with a twist on the floor.
Just a normal workout crunch.
Exactly. It isolates that rotational core muscle. If you know what that feels like on the ground, you know what it should feel like when you transition at the top of your backswing.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of biomechanical ground today. Let's synthesize this for a second.
Sure.
Next time you are standing on the tee box with a driver in your hand, what should you actually be visualizing?
Well, the primary visualization is to just stop thinking about your arms. Power is not about swinging your arms harder.
Right, no more chopping wood.
Exactly. It is about increasing your impulse by maximizing the time your core forces have to act on the club. You want to visualize disassociation.
Getting that head start.
Right. Letting your hips and pelvis start to lead the way into the heel of your front foot while your shoulders are actually still finishing their backward turn.
Stretching the rubber band.
You got it. Visualize the crossbody X factor connecting your left glute to your right lat, storing up that elastic energy. And finally, visualize engaging those muscles smoothly without tensing or locking them up. Fluidity is speed.
It's all about getting the sequence right.
Yeah.
Letting the big muscles do the heavy lifting and just keeping the tension out of the equation.
You know, there is a really profound thought here when we look at the future of sports science.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Dr. Grakowski's spine engine theory isn't just about golf. It actually proves that this contralateral X pattern, the glutes and lats working together in diagonal harmony, is exactly how early humans naturally learned to walk and run across the savanna.
That's incredible. So we were basically just utilizing the hardware we were already built with.
Yes. And this means that the perfect golf swing isn't about forcing your body to learn some, unnatural, highly technical sports motion.
It's not something completely alien to our biology.
Right. What if it's much simpler than that? What if the perfect golf swing is simply about getting out of your own way, dropping the tension, and just unlocking the evolutionary biomechanics that your body was already perfectly designed to perform?
Man, that is an incredible way to look at it. We aren't fighting our biology. We are just trying to remember how to use it.
Exactly.
Well, if you enjoyed today's deep dive, please subscribe to our channel and share it with fellow golfers, coaches, and PGA professionals.
And hey, if there is a topic you would like us to research, analyze, and discuss in a future deep dive, feel free to send us an email or connect with us through LinkedIn.
Whether your interest is golf biomechanics, kinematics, ground reaction forces, swing mechanics, putting, coaching, club fitting, technology, or just sports science in general, we would absolutely love to hear from you.
Our team will review your submission, conduct expensive research, analyze the available evidence, and we may even create a dedicated deep dive article, video, or testing project based on your topic.
Thank you for being part of the eCoach 360 Degree community. See you next time.